Alright, so I'm going to show you guys a little bit more stuff about the Hypershade, because it's handy for some things. And then I'll probably run around to do redshift stuff. Alright, so I have this scene right here. And you'll notice there's like a crap ton of a lot of random objects in it. I've actually decided that this is my redshift render. I've decided that I am not super in love with the look of like having all of this stuff textured in the background. I just think it looks kind of cluttered and disgusting. So I'm just gonna like convert that all back to basically Lambert's because I'm bad. And then just have it be gray because I don't know. I like the clutter. Something about it is like cool to me, but like I don't like it colored. I think it's kind of ugly. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hide my figure real quick, and then I'll just marquee select everything and be like, boom, Lambert 1. And now, okay, that actually, this might be a thing that I leave glass. But you'll notice, so once I do that, if I go to assign existing material, there's like a crap ton of a lot of materials here, which are now not being used for anything. So, what I'm going to do, break open my Hypershade, because Hypershade is magical. Why, hello. And I'm just going to, because like you see all of the random extra frames here that I totally don't need. So I'm just going to go to Edit, Delete Unused Nodes, and it's going to get rid of all of the ones that are not assigned to an object. Frankly, I'm actually confused what some of these are actually assigned to. I'm going to go back to my perspective camera. This is actually another cool feature of Hypershade. So if I'm like, what the heck did I put this blend on? Like, this looks like a chocolate top blend. Like, what did I put this on? If I right-click on this image, I can do select objects with material. And it should theoretically find... that object. In this case, it might just be buried somewhere in my outliner. But I'm just going to go through again and just grab these, because I realized, like, the top of my, I missed the top of my lava lamp, so I'm just going to, again, just do existing material and Lambert 1. That got rid of a few more. I think I just have, oh, no, I'm actually not really sure what the heck half of these are from. But you'll notice, like, one thing I can do is I'll unhide my figure. Just if I right-click on... Let me try a different material. Why not? I think I do. I think I just have a bunch of stuff buried in my scene randomly. There's transform node. It is. It's literally just those dumb transform nodes. Holy crap. That is the absolute worst... Oh my. That's such a dumb feature. So I just searched for transform in my outliner. And I'm just going to go through and delete all of those. Bear in mind, if you haven't deleted history on your object, that might delete pieces of your object. In this case, I have deleted all the history, so it shouldn't be an issue. Now, if I go to delete unused nodes, it should delete most of the rest of the stuff in my scene. But anyway, so if I click on, and that's actually why, so when I right-clicked and did select objects, those transform nodes don't really exist. It's kind of, think of it as like a Maya's note to itself kind of thing. So there's nothing to move around or see in your scene or render, and that's why I wasn't finding anything. But anyway, so right-click on this, I'll do select object with material, and it's going to select all of the objects with this skin material. In this case, my figure. And then same thing with Lambert 1. If I do this, it's going to select all my background stuff. So setting up redshift is pretty... Wait, what am I doing? Sorry. I was still doing Hypershade stuff. Alright, so here's your materials tab. I've gotten rid of all my materials. And there might be... It's possible that there's still like a few textures floating around in here. I'm usually really bad about cleaning them up, so they might sort of live there. But one thing you can do that's kind of cool is actually use your Hypershade to apply different textures to things. So what I can do, like if I'm like, oh cool, I'm in the skin material, maybe instead of the color that I have, I can grab this file here, and I'll just middle mouse button and hold on that image and just drag it over and replace the color channel, and you can see that it will replace the existing maps there. I could even, heck, I could do it for roughness for all the terror that would cause, but I can pretty much drag these files in wherever I want. It does help, incidentally, if you're planning on working this way. It's might not be a horrible idea to go in and like name your file nodes. You know, just go up here and be like UV text or something like that. Just so you're like, if you don't have the preview, then you know what it is. Because like here, I don't know what the heck. This is apparently my Lambert roughness. But anyway, in this case, I might actually drag the, just gonna grab this and drag it back on color because I want my person color. So there's one more thing that you can do that I want to show you really quick. And you can do, once you're familiar with how to use this little node editor here, you can do a lot of really crazy powerful stuff. But I just want to show you that it exists for the time being. So I'm actually going to, really quick, because this is actually Redshift material, I'm going to assign this a new Arnold material. Be like, yay, standard surface, great. And you can see that if you have your graph editor or your Hypershade open, once I make that material, it's going to add it to my my little node editor down here. You pretty much navigate the same way you do normal Maya, just like scroll to zoom in and out, and then Alt middle mouse to pan back and forth. But if I go into here and say maybe I map a displacement map in, I'll just give it a, I don't know, a random noise texture. You can see it's like gone through and added displacement maps. If I click this, I can, again, I'll just go to my textures and be like UV, oops, hello. I'll just go to like, hey, UV, and just drag that onto my color channel. And you can see it's giving me a rendered preview of that up here. Totally should be grayscale. I'm just curious what happens. Anywho, so if you need to, particularly if you're working with displacement maps, I find it a lot easier to deal with this node editor here. So one thing you can do, first of all, if you don't want any of this in your scene, you're just gonna be like, this is too much to look at. There's these little buttons up here. So this will remove, so if I just click on this guy, this little minus button, remove selected nodes from graph, will just remove that one node. So again, I'll click on this guy, just remove that, and then I just have all the other guys. If I was done working on a particular material, I wanted to get all of the stuff off the screen, you just hit this little button with like the little diamond cleaning diamonds, and it will clear all of the nodes. If you wanted to maybe map a specific shader, so you can take this and again, just middle mouse button, hold and drag this down, and it'll add this to your scene. Get rid of that. Or you can just click on that shader and hit this little plus button here, and it will also add it to your scene. So once this is here, you have a few different options for viewing this. So it's not inherently useful on its own. It does show you all of the different channels that can be mapped here. But what you want to do most of the time, what I usually do, is just hit this input and output connection button. And that's going to show you all of the stuff that's mapped into this surface shader. So in this case, it's just like, oh, cool, your UV checker texture, that's going into your base color. And if I want to disconnect that, I'll just, click on, it's freezing. I'll just click on this little line, grab it, and just drag it somewhere out here, and it'll disconnect that. You can see that my figure now has no texture mapped onto the color channel. If I wanted to, I'll just undo that. If I wanted to maybe map this into something else like roughness, instead of color, I'll just grab this little guy here, same way as I did to disconnect it, and I'll just drag it down to, you'll see it actually, when you are sort of looking to connect it, it'll gray out anything that you can't connect it to. So in this case, I'm just going to throw it on specular. I'll just drag that in there and release it, and it's now connected to my specular color. That is so trippy and kind of fantastic. Holy crap. Yes, good. And it's connected to specular color instead of color. And again, so you just grab this, break it off, and then just mouse it over something not grayed out, and it will reconnect those. You can also grab a new one, like if you just want to map this again, select out color, and you can drag that again and just click on specular color, and it should make it really, it's not as trippy as I thought it would be. That's kind of upsetting. But yeah, so that's that. The other thing that you can do is, I did mention it was easier to find the displacement shaders, so if you click on this AI standard surface 1SG node, if I click here on this input and output connection box, you can see that it has the AI standard surface is mapped into the shader, and then displacement shader, you can actually access, like here's the noise map I used for my displacement texture. Here's the actual displacement texture. So like if you needed to get to the scale of your displacement map or something, I personally think it's easier to do it through your Hypershade than the alternative, which is, I think, clicking on this, clicking on the material, and then going to this back button, going into your noise texture, and then hitting the back button again. I'm like, that's convoluted. You can totally just open your Hypershade and grab this, whatever this standard surface 1SG thing is, and just, you know, look at that. And then you have instant access to your displacement and whatever is actually mapped into it. So that's pretty much the Hypershade in a nutshell. Again, you can do a lot more powerful stuff with this down here. There's a bunch of nodes you can add, like Maya has their own nodes. If you press tab, literally just press tab anywhere, it's going to bring up this little search box. And if you know what you're looking for, you can like start typing it in. But you know, I use these guys a lot for rigging. But and then you can just like create nodes like that. So like conceivably, I could do noise and just make a noise texture, and it's given me, it's created for me another noise texture and the little place 2D texture where I can update my repeat U, repeat B stuff. I could make a ramp texture, just make sure you're grabbing texture and not like projection, and I can make all these. I can make Lambert if I want to, if I can spell. I don't know, you get the point. So you can just type that in. And again, to access that menu, I'm just hitting tab. Academic Phoenix Plus has a wonderful set of videos on really, really, really crazy cool stuff you can do, specifically with Arnold. For the Hypershade, you can do the same stuff with Redshift. It's just like different, I believe it's just different nodes you'd be searching for. So instead of searching for like, you know, a Lambert, you might be searching for AI standard surface, like that kind of thing, because it's like difference within rendering engines, but I haven't looked to transfer them over. But again, the principles are the same. I could do it in Mental Ray, you can do it in Arnold, you can do it in Redshift. The nodes just might vary slightly. But yeah.